In the heat of the moment, I made a sarcastic, rude comment, right, about cooking it myself, and it is a comment I deeply regret.
James Corden is quite a well-known comedian and a television host. He probably thinks his reputation revolves around how funny he is, but that's not true at all. In fact, he might just be one of the most disliked celebrities at the moment. Don't be surprised though, because it has everything to do with his rude behavior. So, do you want to see James being absolutely destroyed on live TV by other celebs? If that's the case, then you're in for a treat. There's a rather long list of celebrities who hate James Corden for various reasons. And if you include average viewers, then the list would be never ending. Well, it's not new that James has a habit of getting on people's bad sides.
Who is the biggest celebrity you have met?
I can respond.
Oh, she's going to respond, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
wow.
Yeah.
Stick the cat on.
So there's a few. Well, there's James Corden.
The recent celebrity who spoke up about their dislike for James was none other than the Spice Girl icon Mel B. When asked who is the biggest dickhead celebrity you have met, the host expected her to pass up the question in order not to offend anyone. But Mel wasn't going to hold back. She completely annihilated James Corden.
Oh, I love it. What's going on with James Corden? He says, what do you do?
Oh.
I mean, I think you always have to be nice to the people that you work with. Whether it be production, camera guys, sound, lighting, we all work for the same thing, so you should always be nice.
I respect that. No more.
And he hasn't been very nice.
Mel B had a pretty good reason for destroying James Corden like this on live TV. She said he was a rude person, especially to the production staff and the camera guys. After all, it's easy to be nice on camera when you know everyone is watching. But if James can't be nice to the people he works with and talks down to them, then he really does deserve the slander coming his way.
Personally, right, but he's always going on in interviews about how brilliant he thinks I am, right? And the feeling is not reciprocated.
The next celebrity to humiliate James Corden live is James' very own idol and favorite comedian, Stewart Lee. In a rather funny segment at one of his shows, Stewart addresses James Corden, and boy, did he have some interesting opinions about the guy.
Honestly, if you Google James Corden and my name, you find all these interviews, there's people going to him, what's your favourite thing? And he goes, oh, Stewart Lee's brilliant, trying to make out he's clever. Imagine James Corden watching me. Like a dog listening to classical music.
Unlike most of the other celebrities who dislike James for being rude, Stewart simply doesn't like him because he thinks James only pretends to be smart. Imagine being in James's shoes. You keep telling the world about your favorite comedian and how much you like him, and he gets on stage and calls you stupid. That's unbelievably embarrassing. And if we were in James's shoes, we wouldn't be able to show our faces in public ever again.
He went to a WGA meeting for late night writers, and James showed up to said meeting to advocate for a lower pay grade for late night writers. Doesn't really sound like something to advocate for since it's affecting people's livelihoods, right? Jack alleged that since James showed up to the meeting without any other staffers from his show, that James made that trip to the meeting just for this request. Jack also alleged that James wanted to hire writers' assistants for 13-week periods so that he didn't have to pay them as much as a full-time contractor.
People on Twitter had a field day when a late-night writer, Jack Allison, took to Twitter to announce to the world how James Corden was going out of his way to make sure writers for his show get paid less. In a perfect world, any celebrity should get permanently fired for an opinion as problematic as this. Although James has rejected Jack's version of the story, the impact this had on his reputation is disastrous. Being rude to a waiter or a staff member is bad enough, but the thought that James went to a meeting he wasn't invited to just to tell them to cut the writer's pay is absurd. That's a level of petty and miserable kind of a person that we wouldn't have expected of even James Corden.
The world got to see James Corden as a fat...
Ricky Gervais is a comedian who rose to fame in a similar way as James Corden. He too started his career from British TV and then made his mark in the comedy world. But apparently these similarities have not fueled any brotherhood between the two. Ricky doesn't leave any chance to humiliate James Corden. You might think this is just professional jealousy, as they are both comedians after all. But But Ricky's dislike for James seems rather personal.
Rick, can I have a word, Rick? Yes, shoot. Shoot.
Yeah, so vis-a-vis rape of wife, because ultimately vis-a-vis
Chair, pondering the aforementioned slanderers. To wit, vis-a-vis, am I or am I not like my brilliant comic creation?
It looks like Ricky's disdain for James started back in 2008 when James played Ricky on a show. Ricky must have taken a lot of offense at this portrayal because even after all these years, he isn't ready to let James off the hook. In fact, he still thinks James is a
that his streak of irresponsibility came to an end after attending 18 months of therapy, although even after this, there were still countless examples of him treating people like garbage. For example, James Corden stated in a BBC4 interview that he needed to bully his way to the top of the media world.
It's not surprising that James would be disliked, even if he thinks he is a bully. Some celebrities detest his meanness so much that they refuse to come to a show even though it is such a famous show. One such celebrity was Liam Gallagher, the lead vocalist of the band Oasis. The singer was invited to James Corden's carpool karaoke.
"No, thank you very much," replied Gallagher. "No fucking chance, mate."
Liam was not fond of this idea at all, and that's because he thinks James is a knobhead. He didn't explain his reasoning behind his strong dislike for James, but we're pretty sure it's because of James's rather unlikable nature. Still, it's a shock that Liam would pass up on the opportunity to appear on the show, considering how he gets really good ratings. All the celebrities who know James at all seem to dislike him. At this point, we'd be more shocked if Liam liked James instead and wanted to work with him.
Here in LA, it's so beautiful. Harvey Weinstein has already asked tonight up to his hotel to give him a massage.
By now, we've established that James is a rather rude person. But being rude isn't his only problem. He also seems to have a knack for making inappropriate jokes. At an event, James very unapologetically made jokes about Harvey Weinstein, which is completely unacceptable. In fact, his joke landed so poorly that the two actresses, Asia Argento and Rose McGowan, both slammed him for it. McGowan called Corden a mother effing piglet, and Argento said, "Shame on this pig and everyone who grunted with him." James was once again dragged through the mud for his mean and offensive comments. Once again, he proved himself as an insensitive person who doesn't care about the victims of assault. James himself realized how poor this situation was, so he quickly took to social media to apologize for his joke. Corden tweets, "To be clear, sexual assault is no laughing matter. I was not trying to make light of Harvey's inexcusable behavior, but to shame him, the abuser, not the victims. I am truly sorry for anyone offended. That was never my intention." But as always, the harm has been done, and being a rape apologist is just another title to his already shockingly long list of offenses.
Literally, I've never felt anything like it. This arm went on here and just pushed me out the way.
All these celebrities think James is the rudest person ever. But who does James think is the rudest celebrity? Turns out it's Pierce Brosnan. James recounts the incident where Pierce pushed James out of his seat. And all the while, we can't help wondering if this is because Pierce personally dislikes James. Maybe he was already aware of James's reputation and didn't even want him anywhere near himself. It's such an embarrassing episode that we're surprised James talked about it himself. If it were anyone else, he'd have taken something like this to the grave.
I want to speak to James here. It's James, isn't it? When the presenters are up here and when the recipients are receiving their awards, don't stand at the back of the stage with your hands in your pockets, looking around as though you wished you were anywhere but here.
Looks like the list of celebrities disliking James is endless. He has a gift of pissing people off, even when he is seemingly not doing anything. Like in one award show where he was presenting the awards, you'd be thinking, what exactly can he do wrong when he isn't even speaking, right? Turns out he managed to enrage veteran actor Patrick Stewart by just standing at the back looking uninterested. Patrick wasn't going to let this disrespect slide, so he made sure to school James right there in front of everyone. This must have been one of the most humiliating moments of James's life. Viewers have come forward with their own incidents of James Corden being rude, and it's safe to say he's universally disliked. One Twitter user wrote, "I know someone who worked at a reception where James Corden was extremely rude, kept saying, 'Do you know who I am? He's so vile and gross. How does he still have the career he does?' One person destroyed James with this comment by writing, "Everyone I know who has come into contact with this man says he's the rudest little shit they've ever met. I have heard horrendous stories. He's not rude in an intimidating way. James Corden is rude in a small with a lot of money way." That's it for today, folks. Until next time, take care and goodbye.